What's up YouTube, Saf here on SuperSaf TV, and in this video we're going to be comparing the camera quality of the LG G4 versus the iPhone 6 Plus. I'll be looking at both the front and rear-facing cameras and that images as well as video too. Do also look out for the audio icon in the corner of the screen, and that will indicate to you which device the audio is coming from too, and I'll be switching between these two to give you guys a better idea in terms of the differences in audio quality. Now this is something that a lot of you were asking me for, and the reason why we're using the iPhone 6 Plus rather than the iPhone 6 is because it's more of a comparable device. They've got the same sized screen and also optical image stabilization, which the iPhone 6 does not have. So we're currently indoors, we've got good light, and we're using the front-facing cameras on both devices. We're going to head outdoors and do some rear-facing tests, and then we'll also do some low-light tests too. So do hit that thumbs up button, and let's get straight to it. So now we're outdoors, and we're using 1080p on both devices. It's a nice day, and this is the Space Center, probably the best-looking building here in Leicester. So just having a look at that and trying out the optical image stabilization. So just having a bit of a walk, and then you can see how these perform in terms of the optical image stabilization. Now the LG G4 does film in 4K, so now we're at 4K. Although this video is going to be exported out at 1080p, what it means is that we can crop in a lot further than we can do if you're just filming at 1080p on its own. So now we're just indoors with the LG G4, testing out the autofocus. So just going from something that's a little bit further away to something that's near, seems to be doing a pretty good job. Same lighting with the iPhone 6 Plus. So just going from something that's far to something that's near. It also seems to be doing pretty well. Not as good as the G4, I would say. Now just side by side, just to see the difference in terms of light. It's hard to kind of get these both in the center because they're right next to each other and we've got the subject quite close. But just quickly side by side so you can see the difference in terms of the low light. So here we are with both of them side by side in relatively low light. And now just looking at some slow motion, a few of you have requested this, so we've got both of them here in slow motion. The LG G4 does 120 frames a second, whereas the iPhone 6 Plus does 240 frames a second. So you do have more slow and smoother slow motion on the iPhone 6 Plus, although I do prefer the colors a little bit better on the G4. So this is just to show you a bit of a difference in terms of the slow motion. Right, so that was the video. Now let's have a look at some images. Now we're going to do this in the usual SuperSaf TV style, where I'm not going to reveal which device which image has come from initially. This way you can get an idea of which image you like better before having any bias of a preferred brand. So initially starting off with some selfies, I think both are doing pretty good. But for me personally, it has to be the left-hand side image. The colors are much better. I mean, look at my jacket. That black in the jacket is much better. The detail is also much better, I think, in the left-hand side image. That is of the G4, and you've got the iPhone 6 Plus on the right-hand side. Now, another thing to bear in mind is that the G4 does have an 8 megapixel front-facing camera compared to the 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera of the iPhone 6 Plus. So if you're going 100%, you can see you can crop in so much further on the G4 image. So a huge difference in terms of the resolution between these two, just something to bear in mind. And that also goes towards the detail of the G4. Now moving on to a selfie in relatively low light, I think the right-hand side image is the clear winner here. Colors are much better. I mean, if you look at the white on my t-shirt as well as in the background, it seems to be much better. The left-hand side image is a little bit on the yellow side. And you've also got a lot more detail in the right-hand side image. And that's because it is from the G4. You've got the iPhone 6 Plus on the left-hand side. So quite impressed with the G4's front-facing camera. Now moving on to the rear-facing cameras. So we've got an outdoor image here in good light. I personally prefer the right-hand side image more. It's got more detail. I also prefer the colors and the dynamic range. Just to mention on a side note that the HDR was switched off on both devices. However, the right hand side image does seem to have better dynamic range. That's of the G4. You've got the iPhone 6 Plus on the left hand side. And now, once again, resolution wise, you've got 16 megapixels versus 8 megapixels. So if we go in 100%, you can see you can crop in much further on the image of the G4 compared to the iPhone 6 Plus. Now moving on to an outdoor image close-up, so you can see both have some amazing depth of field. You've got slight differences in terms of colors. The right hand side image is a little bit warmer. You've got slight cooler colors on the left hand side image. I would call this one a bit of a draw. I like both images on here. You've got the G4 on the left hand side. You've got the iPhone 6 Plus on the right hand side.
Now moving on to an indoor image in good light. Now I've got these cans here so you can recognize the brands and you can compare them yourself in terms of the colors. I'd call this one a bit of a draw. Both seem to be doing very well. We've got the LG G4 on the right hand side and we've got the iPhone 6 Plus on the left hand side. Now moving on to an image in relatively low light. So this is on my desk and it's just got the light from the room, which is pretty low. And I like the details better on the left hand side image as well as the colors. The right hand side image is doing okay, but the colors are just a little bit muggy, I believe. You've got the G4 on the left hand side, you've got the iPhone 6 Plus on the right hand side. Now using the flashes on both devices, so I tend to avoid using the flash, but sometimes you do have to use it. I prefer the colors on the left hand side, they're a little bit more neutral. The right hand side image is a little bit too yellowy for my liking. You've got the G4 on the right hand side, the iPhone 6 Plus on the left hand side. So I think the True Tone flash is helping the iPhone 6 Plus to get a better result from the flash. So there we have it, the LG G4 versus the iPhone 6 Plus camera comparison. A lot of you are asking for this. Now before I go into any of my personal conclusions, just to mention that yes, I am fully aware that the iPhone 6 Plus is an older device, so it's expected that some improvements here on the G4 are going to be better than the iPhone 6 Plus. But if you're going out to get a smartphone at this point in time, then you're going to be looking at some of these options. So yes, we'll do another comparison when the iPhone 6s Plus is out, so don't worry about that. Now in terms of the front facing camera, I'm definitely going to have to give the edge to the G4. That resolution gives you more detail and it's also better in low light because it has a wider aperture, so definitely a plus in terms of the front facing camera for the G4. Now for the rear facing camera overall, in terms of images as well as video, I would have to give the edge to the G4, mainly because of that resolution and also a better dynamic range in my opinion. Now in terms of the optical image stabilization, I would personally give the edge to the iPhone 6 Plus. I just thought it was smoother when I was walking. You can go ahead back and have a look. Also the audio of the iPhone 6 Plus I thought was a little bit better compared to the G4. I think the G4's audio I haven't been too impressed with. In terms of low light, I would give the edge to the G4, both for the front and rear facing cameras. I think it just produced better, sharper and more brighter images in low light. And autofocus as well, the G4, that laser autofocus is very, very quick and snappy. That's what I think anyway. What do you think? Do drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. If you do want to see more images from lots of different devices, then go ahead and give me a follow on Instagram. I'm at SuperSaf TV and I post images from lots of different devices on a regular basis. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, then please do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. And if you want to see more camera comparisons like this one, as well as lots of other tech videos, then be sure to subscribe to the channel. I've got plenty more content coming up on here. If you want to see my previous related video, that will also be linked here. And finally, you can stay in touch with me over social media. The addresses will be here as well as in the description below. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV, and I'll see you next time.